Welcome back to The Silent Truth, where real stories and chilling confessions are shared in whispers, piece by piece, until the entire picture leaves you speechless. If you're new here, take a deep breath, sit back, and listen carefully. Because sometimes, the truth hides in places we least expect it. This story comes from a woman who thought she knew her son better than anyone else in the world. A mother's bond is supposed to be unbreakable, a bond made of love, trust, and sacrifice. But what happens when that very bond is tested in ways she never imagined? What happens when the child you raised turns into someone you no longer recognize? This is her story. I visited my son one weekend, thinking it would be just another ordinary trip. He lived in a different town, about 2 hours away from me, and though we didn't see each other as often as I would have liked, I always tried to make time. He was my only child, my pride, and the reason I kept pushing forward after my husband passed away. When I arrived, he greeted me warmly, maybe a little too warmly. His hug lingered, his smile looked forced, but I brushed it off. Maybe he was just tired, maybe he was stressed from work. We sat together for a while, and then he surprised me by suggesting that we go out to a local pub. Now, let me explain something. My son had never been the type to invite me out to a pub. He wasn't much of a drinker, and he certainly didn't like mixing family with nightlife. So when he suggested it, I was confused but also touched. Maybe he was trying to bond with me in a new way, maybe he wanted to share part of his life I'd never seen before. So I agreed. The pub was small, dimly lit, the kind of place where locals gathered and everyone knew each other's business. As soon as we walked in, a few people glanced our way. I didn't think much of it, but there was a weight in the air that made me uneasy. My son ordered drinks for us, and I noticed the bartender's eyes lingered on me longer than they should have. Not in a creepy way. More in a way that said he recognized me, or maybe pitied me. I couldn't place it. We sat, we chatted, and my son seemed distracted. He kept checking his phone, his knee bouncing under the table. He wasn't really listening to what I was saying. I thought maybe he was meeting someone, maybe he didn't want me there. But when he got a call and excused himself, things took a turn I never expected. The bartender walked over. A tall man, mid-40s, with sharp eyes that looked like they had seen too much. He leaned in, close enough that I could smell the faint trace of whiskey on his breath. He didn't smile. He didn't waste time. He grabbed my arm gently, firmly, as if to ground me in place. "Ma'am," he said in a low voice, "I don't have much time. You need to leave. Right now. Your son, he's not who you think he is. He's planning something. Please, trust me. Don't argue. Just go." My heart dropped. At first, I wanted to laugh, to shake off the ridiculousness of it. My son, planning something. What could he possibly be talking about? But there was something in the bartender's eyes, something so raw and desperate, that I froze. I tried to ask questions, but he shook his head. "No time. Don't go out the front. He'll see. Go to the toilet, climb out the window. Run. Just run." I felt my chest tighten. Fear clawed at me. My instinct screamed at me to stay, to wait for my son, to demand answers. But another part of me, the part that had always listened to her gut, knew I couldn't ignore this. The bartender's grip loosened, and I stumbled to my feet, pretending to be heading toward the restroom. My legs shook as I walked away. My heart pounded in my ears. The restroom was small, the window even smaller, but I forced myself through it, scraping my hands and bruising my knees as I squeezed out into the cold night air. I didn't stop to think. I didn't stop to breathe. I ran. 5 minutes later, the pub door burst open behind me. I ducked into an alley, pressing myself against the wall. My son stepped out, his head whipping side to side, scanning the street. His face was twisted, angry, panicked. I had never seen him look that way before. This wasn't the son I had raised, this wasn't the boy who once cried when his goldfish died, who once held my hand crossing the street. He looked dangerous. I stayed hidden until he stormed back inside. Only then did I run farther, my mind racing, questions clawing at me. What was going on? What had I just escaped? I found a quiet corner and pulled out my phone, my hands trembling as I dialed the police. I didn't know what to tell them. All I could say was that something was wrong, very wrong, and that I was afraid of my own son. By the time officers arrived, the pub was in chaos. People had left in a hurry, whispers of some kind of fight, some kind of plan gone wrong. The bartender was outside, speaking urgently to the police. When he saw me, relief washed over his face. He walked over, nodding at me like he knew I had made the right choice. The truth came out in fragments, each piece worse than the last. My son had been in deep debt, caught up with dangerous people. He had been planning to do something unthinkable that night, something that would have dragged me into his mess, possibly even as a pawn, as leverage. The bartender had overheard parts of conversations, enough to know that I was in danger. Enough to risk everything to warn me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to deny it. But when the police found evidence, messages, threats, proof of what my son was tangled in, I couldn't deny it anymore. The boy I had raised, the man I thought I knew, had led me straight into danger. And I had climbed out of a toilet window to save my life. For days after, I couldn't sleep. I replayed every moment, every sign I had ignored. His forced smile, his nervous knee, his constant checking of the phone. I thought about the way he hugged me when I arrived. Was it guilt, was it love, or was it a goodbye he couldn't say out loud? I don't know. I may never know. What I do know is this: trust your instincts. Listen when something feels wrong. And sometimes, the people we love the most are the ones who can hurt us the deepest. This story is not just about betrayal. It's about survival. It's about the silent truth that hides beneath smiles, beneath family ties, beneath the people we think we know best. And in the end, it's about a mother who listened to a stranger and saved her own life. You've been listening to The Silent Truth. Stay safe, stay aware, and never ignore the quiet warnings the world gives you. Because sometimes, that whisper is the only thing standing between you and the unthinkable.